It's a bit hot so I think we'll just try and keep it as airy as possible in here. Okay, so welcome councillors to my first full council meeting on this day, Tuesday the 14th of June. Welcome members of the public. Jill, welcome, thank you for joining us. As we're all very, very familiar with the fire evacuation procedure, I'm not actually going to read that tonight, so I'll set that aside. Okay, welcome officers as well, and welcome to members of the press, obviously sitting at home. Thought I'd just get that one in there. Right, okay, let's start with the first item on the agenda, please, which is number 1, apologies for absence. Town clerk, do you have any?
We have apologies from councillors Buckley, Eggleton and Hinton.
Thank you. And item number 2 on the agenda is declarations of interest. Do I have any declarations this evening from the councillors? No, I see none. So let's move on to item number 3, which is public participation. Would you like to suggest anything this evening?
Just me. Well, I'd just like to congratulate you, Madam Mayor, on your new position. And I was going to congratulate Kelly, she's not here, on becoming Vice Chairman of District Council, which I think is a huge achievement for a Henley councillor and for an independent resident. So to have had the first official position in 31 years, which is quite remarkable, and it's a tribute to all the hard work that she's done. But I also liked, I was reading your report, Ken, and I'm really pleased. I think the 1 hour free parking in Henley.
Excuse me, Councillor.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor. Yeah, I think it's going to be great, and I'm really pleased to see that you're not losing any money. Yeah, it's a great scheme. So you're doing great things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did you want to come back with that, Councillor? No. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to item number 4, which is to approve the minutes of the last full council meetings held on the 26th of April and the 9th of May. May I please have a seconder for the 26th of April? Councillor Plant, thank you. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried, thank you. And the next set of minutes, which is the 9th of May, if I could have a seconder, Councillor Rowlands, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Item number 5, which is reports of committees. The first one is the planning committee. So if you please turn to page 9 on your agendas. I hereby present the minutes of the meeting of the planning committee held on Tuesday the 19th of April. 192, apologies for absence. 193, declarations of interest. 194, minutes. 195, public participation. 196, plans amended. 197, plans new. 198, objections, calling applications. 199, decision notices. 200, appeal response, Town and Country Planning Act 1990, appeal against refusal. 201, climate emergency 2030 working group. Page on page 12. 202, community governance review. And 203, progress report for applications called in. I do so move. I have a seconder, Councillor Plant, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the next set of minutes is again from the planning committee, held on Tuesday, the 10th of May. Item number 1, election of chair. Number 2, election of vice chair. 3, apologies for absence. 4, declarations of interest. 5, minutes. 6, public participation. 7, appointment of subcommittees, their terms of reference and membership. Over the page on page 14, 8, election of chair for Neighbourhood Planning Committee. 9, election of vice chair for Neighbourhood Planning Committee. 10, election of chair for Transport Strategy Group. 11, election of vice chair for Transport Strategy Group. 12, plans amended. 13, plans new. And over the page to page 17. 14, objections, calling applications. 15, decision notices. 16, appeal response, Town and Country Planning Act 1990, appeal against refusal. 17, neighbourhood plan committee. 18, Town and Country Planning Tree Preservation Order. 19, funding for official notices for EV charging points. And 20, progress report for applications called in. I do so move. Let's please. Councillor, Councillor Bones, did you have your hand up? No, you're taking Councillor.
Yeah.
Councillor Bond, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, and again, the next item on the planning is the planning committee held on Tuesday, the 31st of May. Item 21, apologies for absence. 22, declarations of interest. 23, minutes. 24, public participation. 25, plans amended. 27, plans new. 28, plans amended, continued. At the bottom of page 20, 29 plans new. And then over the page, we have page 22, 30 objections, calling applications, 31 decision notices, 32 appeal decision, Town and Country Planning Act 1990, appeal against refusal, 33 certificate of lawful development applications, 34 neighbourhood plan committee, 35 climate emergency 2030 working group, 36 progress report for applications called in, 37 progress reports. I do so move. I have a seconder, Councillor Devonshire, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. So that concludes the planning agendas. May I have please call upon the Recreation and Amenities Chair to present the 10th of May.
1, election of chair. 2, election of vice chair. 3, apologies for absence. 4, declarations of interest. 5, public participation. 6 minutes. Over the page. 7, appointment of subcommittees. 8, West Street Stall. 9, progress. 10, finance. 11, conservation update. 12, tree works. 13, town hall CCTV. I do say no, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Plant, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Number 3, town and community. I call on Councillor Glenn Lando.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the minutes of the town and community meeting held on the 17th of May. Starting with 87, election of chair. 88, election of vice chair. 89, apologies. 90, declarations of interest. 91, public participation. 92, minutes. 93, appointments, subcommittees, their terms of reference and membership. Can we have a parking working group to this? So it was started by TNC, probably should report back into TNC. Should that go in there?
We can add that to the next agenda.
Perfect, thank you. 94, police update. 95, progress reports. 96, finances 2021-22.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Walker. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, and last but absolutely not least, please, I put forward from Councillor Brewster to move these next set of minutes, please.
I'd like to present the minutes of the meeting of the Finance Strategy Management Committee held on the 19th of April 2022. Item 91, apologies. Item 92, declarations of interest. Item 93, public participation. Item 94, minutes. Item 95, finance. Item 96, expenditure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, on expenditure, there was an item on the finance which mentioned Gazprom. I was hoping Councillor Hamilton was going to be here this evening and answer a question I was going to put to him on that. Unfortunately, he hasn't arrived. This is the problem when you tell somebody you're going to ask them a question. And if I hadn't told him, I'm sure he would have been here this evening. But I think we should mention this at the next finance agenda. The comments that Councillor Hamilton made in the press. And I won't bother reading that. Thank you.
Councillor Eastman, do you want to talk to that at all?
I think there were two aspects to the comments that you're referring to. One is the substance of the matter, which is our attempts to cancel our contract with Gazprom, replace it with an alternative supplier, which the town clerk is continuing to progress. The second point was the public criticism that was made by Councillor Hamilton of the town clerk and the town council as a whole, which I felt was wrong, inappropriate, unfair, and I'd like to see him withdraw those remarks. So I hope he gets the chance to do that and does take that opportunity. Item 96, expenditure. Item 97, investment review. Item 98, exclusion of public and press. Item 99, 353, 357, Reading Road Working Group. Item 100, legal update. Item 101, new streets, slipway. I so move.
Second, please. Councillor Gutschak, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And again, I call on Councillor Roseman, please, to present the minutes of 7th of June.
The minutes of the meeting of the Finance Strategy and Management Committee meeting held on the 7th of June 2022. Item 1, election of chair. Item 2, election of vice chair. Item 3, apologies. Item 4, declarations of interest. Item 5, public participation. Item 6, minutes. Item 7, working group. Groups. Item number 8, finance. Item number 9, expenditure. Item 10, reserves policy. Item 11, risk assessment. Item 12, exclusion of public and press. Item 13, 353 and 357 Reading Road. Item 14, legal update. Item 15, no limits journey 357 Reading Road. I so move.
Thank you. Second, please, Councillor Farr, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 6, which is reports of other authorities. Please turn to page 39 of your agendas. Councillor Arlott, would you like to speak to any of this? Thank you.
Yes, that was a very comprehensive report we've been doing over the last couple of months and more. Just to mention the EV points and the toilets were officially opened last week by the Mayor. Was there, also myself, Councillor Gavashak, and obviously SODC. They seem to be working correctly. In just a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, there's been 6,000 people who've used them. And the reason they come up with a number, every time someone goes in there, click somewhere, and the number appears. So there's been 6,000 uses. I suppose the question I asked, and I didn't at the time, I just wonder if everybody was going the previous 2 months while they were being refurbished. So that could have been a bit of a problem. Yeah. The other thing I did send round was a supply from SODC about people logging onto their website and noting any bad areas that they found around the town where there was rubbish. I did ask for a copy to be sent to Celia Womble, who is unfortunately not here this evening. I think it'd be handy if he has passed it on. The town clerk asked him to pass it on to the Wombles. Just in case anybody isn't aware, the majority of the Wombles were picking up litter before Senior Womble came along, and all they've really got now is obviously the Tory blue tabard, which they wear, which is fine, but you know, when it's dark, it doesn't stand out all that much. And I prefer, unfortunately, Councillor Egerton is here, not here tonight, At least he always wears his yellow one, which makes a lot of sense. So hopefully people will feel this, and if they see any bad areas around town. Personally, I walk around town, I don't see that many. I see the occasional one, but so yeah, we don't need to raise it tonight, but if there are any, just log in on the online and pass the information on to them. I've got nothing else to add. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
No, I just as a Womble, I'm on the mailing list. I haven't received anything. So I don't know if that information has been emailed to all the Wombles.
Well, that's just one.
Councillor Hooper.
I don't know if you noted what happened today in the Grace Road car parks, that someone got locked in and they had the fire brigade, they God knows who trying to get the door open.
Okay, thank you, that's noted, yeah. Okay, any other comments about the district council's report? No, all done, thank you, let's move on then. Oxfordshire County Councillor, Councillor Gavrishak, would you like to speak to any of your reports?
Yes, please, thank you. I don't know whether I'll say I'll try and be brief because I don't think I will on this particular occasion. So, firstly, one thing I should have said on the district council, Jill, you mentioned Kelly becoming vice chair. I think Ken and I, as district councils, are very, very proud. I think Henley Town Council should also be very, very proud. Yes, it is the first time. And it's a great credit to Kelly. She was chair of licensing, chair of grants committee, and she's got a really good reputation here and also over at SODC. And it's a great credit to her that she's vice chair. After the election, we'll see what happens going forward. So we'll see. Anyway, to my county councillor report. This report in Maine was prompted by a comment by Councillor Hamilton about potholes. And what I have done is I have given council a very comprehensive report on the number of potholes. And actually the number of potholes is declining. Potholes will happen. I mean, it's the nature of roads and winter, etc. The only way of getting rid of potholes is to actually re-tarmac every street in Henley with a new surface. And it's part of my report that we've had a record investment in Henley of almost £1.5 million. And when a road is resurfaced, it obviously doesn't attract potholes because it's a completely sealed surface. So I've got about 2 or 3 other roads that I've got to get done, the bottom of Reading Road and also Grays Hill. But I will carry on. I will carry on to try and get those completed. There are 2 or 3 others coming this year. The big one is, of course, New Street, and I've given the key dates there. After the regatta, the New Street is going to be retargeted. There will be no road closures except in the 3rd week, and I've given the dates there, where there are nighttime closures, where they've got to grind out the road and then retarget it. So there will be a closure from 7 in the evening till 11 o'clock. So all of the details are there. And by the way, all of those details will be going to the businesses and the residents of New Street and Thameside in the next couple of days. As you can see, the potholes, the pothole map, and I do want to actually give credit to an officer who is called Steve Harris. Whenever a pothole is put onto Fixed By Street, it's flagged up, obviously. Steve Harris comes twice a week to Henley, and every one of the potholes that has been logged on Fixed By Street, he goes and visits. A few of the potholes don't qualify because they've got to be a certain width and a certain depth, because from an expense point of view, you can't fill in every pothole in Henley. So he visits, and this is the log that he does, and I've given you a sample of it, at Thameside, Green Lane, Deanfield Avenue. He has logged these, and most of them are 28-day repairs. That's a white ring round a pothole. If it's got a red ring round the pothole, it's a dangerous pothole. It's got to be fixed within 24 hours. And there is a sample of one on Thames side and also one on Marine Lane as well. So there's that. Coming to the next site on Swiss Farm, just very briefly, I last Thursday had a meeting with OCC officers. The scheme is being designed. There will be a scheme coming to Henley Town Council, and it's for Henley Town Council to approve the costings of it, to either approve or disapprove the costings of it. It will be, I give you warning, it will be quite expensive because it's a puffin crossing, and they're always more expensive than just normal zebra crossings. And it could be between 80 and 110,000 pounds. It could be a huge amount of money. So we have to make a decision on that going forward. But I was just flagged up with that. And I said at the end, it's been very, very busy. I think Councillor Hillier and Councillor Arler and Councillor Hinton, District and Councillor, it's been tremendously busy with problems, sorting them out. So there's that going forward. I have one question. And oh, sorry, no, there were two other things I wanted to say. Two other things. I'm a bit fed up, and it is Councillor Hamilton. I'm sorry, I wasn't saying this in front of him, but I will just say it anyway. I'm a bit fed up of Councillor Hamilton on Twitter actually putting spurious comments. For example, that HRG and the Henley Town Council and OCC are responsible for gas leaks in Duke Street. We are not. We actually don't have any authority on gas leaks in Duke Street. Gas leaks are the responsibility of the gas company, and they have a safety consideration. That's why Duke Street is closed, is because gas was going into Damara dentists, and they actually found a leak, and it's coming up. Fine, we want the road to carry on being used when there's a gas leak on. No, we don't. Close the road. It's inconvenient, yes. And it should be. And I have one question from Councillor Arler, and it says this: although one of our town councillors, Councillor Hamilton, I'm sorry, Councillor Hamilton, it's a bit of a questioning tonight, is continued complaining about potholes, but at the moment there are no records on Fixed Light Street of his name with a pothole. The figures I have put forward for repairs tell a different story, and that's in here. It seems that in 2020 they've peaked, and because of the investment that Councillor Gavrishek has made, the number of potholes will be reducing. And finally, Councillor Arler carries on to say, I think the council should thank me and the County Council Officer Steve Harris for logging all the potholes, and 4,000 in the last 5 years. Potholes have been repaired in Henley. So I will continue to work hard. I will continue to be held to account, which is a quote from Twitter. I don't mind being held to account because I've got a pretty good record, and HRG has got a really good record with Henley Town Council as well. So fine. We're held to account, we just carry on doing good things. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is number 7, reports about outside bodies. Does anyone have any? Yes.
I don't know if I do actually, but I would like to say that in the past, it was suggested that as a recipient of grants from Henley Town Council, bluebells should be added to the list of outside bodies, and it isn't on here yet, so I'm just going to suggest that that's added.
Yes.
But since I'm already on it, I'm happy to be representative.
It would be for bluebells themselves to say whether or not they wish to have formally have a representative from the town council on their board, and if they wish to do so, then it can be presented and we can send it added to the.
It probably isn't necessary for now, since I'm still on the board, but I just may have misunderstood. I thought it was the other way around. I thought Liz, in an email with me, said that it should be an outside body. Anyway,
I don't know.
Yes.
Could I ask for clarification through you? Are you a trustee through being a councillor or secretary?
I'm trustee secretary.
So the outside bodies that appear in the list are only where a councillor is appointed to that outside body as a representative of the town council, which would usually be when that outside body requests a representative.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, councillor Wilson.
I think it's, given the work that Bluebells do to the town, and the way that we've recognised it by awarding them a 3-year grant and work with them for some years now, since led the revival of the organisation. I think we should engage with them, ask them if they would like to have representatives, and so they can be added. So if we would be proactive and ask them if they'd like to ask us, so it just doesn't fall through. Because I think we should have a representative. Councillor haven't made it with us forever, and but he's there as his own right as a person who led the revival, and therefore I think a second representative from the council itself might be something that they would like, and I think it'd be a good thing.
We also have to think about succession as well, these sorts of organisations, don't we? Yes, councillor Hilliard.
Thank you, Madam. I just wondered if any other councillors had problems getting to know when the meetings were of some of the outside bodies, because there's 2 of them that I'm on that I've never been invited to a meeting, and so I don't know when they're held.
Councillor Hilliard's got a very good point, because Henry
Councillor Romans, sorry. Councillor Hilliard, can I just ask you a question? Would you mind? Can you just remind me which one you're on?
Yeah, and it's on the list here on page 49.
Yeah.
And I get to know about the Henry 60 Plus Club, and I get to know about the CCTV, but I don't know about the Oxfordshire South and Wales Citizens Advice Bureau and the Volunteer Bureau, volunteer drivers, that should say, volunteer drivers. But I know Annie, but I just don't get any notification, and I just wonder if it's that they prefer not to have the input from the council. I don't know.
Well, I'll make a note
Yeah.
to actually write to them on your behalf and ask
Thank
them
you.
what
Yeah.
what needs to be done about that. Okay, thank you. Sorry, councillor Romans.
Yes, sorry, councillor Thomas. So, I mean, if I look at the. Just make my voice even louder. I mean, looking through that list, I mean, I'm happy to continue doing what I'm doing. Looking at the Blake Committee, there's always lots going on with that. You always see emails being exchanged, ditto with Lightlingham. But the Henley Branch User Group, I've never heard a single thing from Neil Gunnell
Okay.
or anyone else involved in it. And maybe I think, I mean, okay, yes, I mean, there should be more proactivity in getting involved with it from our side, but at the same time, I mean, you know, here they are running it, why not reach out to us, because we're still quite useful for the Branch User Group.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's really important to maintain the links as well.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so what I'll do then, councillor Romans, is we'll get in contact with the Henley Branch Users Group
Yeah.
and see if we can reintroduce you.
Yep.
Yes, sorry, councillor Hooper. Was that
Um,
councillor Hooper?
Yes, I'm on the town and parish councils along the River Thames with Councillor Hamilton. Never had any communication from them, nothing about AGMs, anything like that whatsoever.
Okay. Right, so say then we'll re-engage with them and see if we can resurrect the relationship. But I mean, obviously, because Councillor Will Hamilton is here, we don't know if it's the same for him, but we'll certainly find out. Councillor Cook.
I've been on the Art and Craft Guild, I think, since I got for about 3 years, and I've never had anything at all.
Oh gosh, this is terrible.
And I'm not sure about Greener Henry, because I was getting their things and then I'm not.
Okay.
And sometimes I get their stuff and sometimes it doesn't appear.
Arts and Craft, do you mean the Henley Arts and Crafts Guild?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have nothing, but that's fine because I'm quite happy.
Okay, so we've got a little work to get caught up on here. Let's move though to, now you have received a request from the Henley Educational Trust about their request, because they do actually have 3 of spoke about house.
Maybe they're still locked in the toilets.
Yeah, so as you can see, they're about sort of a third way down the list. Henley Educational Trust actually have 3 representatives. So what they've asked to do is, sorry,
That's
oh, we're not going to do that one then.
so this is just reports.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so let's go on to. Just draw my pen. Okay. Item number 8, Mayor's civic engagements. On page 47, and I noticed that it's not going to happen again, so it's looking really small. Sarah, Councillor Miller, you had this on last full council, didn't you? Yeah. So basically, obviously, it's been really busy ever since I first started. Do you have any questions for me on any of my engagements at all? No, I see none. Yes, Councillor Arlett.
I'm going to say, have you paced yourself for 12 months or just for 4 weeks?
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely incredible, isn't it? That it's a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. I think actually, councillors, up until about last week, when people were asking me how long I've been there, I think I was still saying, oh, about 3 weeks. It's more like 5 or 6 weeks. That's how time flies. Okay, so moving on then, I would just like to thank the press for the fantastic coverage, especially of all of the schools. That was fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, number 9, outside bodies membership. Right, now this is what we wanted to get to discuss the membership. Let's just talk about the Henley Educational Trust first. As you saw from the email from the town clerk, they've made a request that we actually go down to 2 for representation from the Henley Town Council, because they would really like to introduce, I guess, a professional from the educational setting. And they have found someone from Badgemore School who would very much like to take up the role, and who they're very pleased with. So, councillors, are we in agreement with that, do you think? Yeah? I'm a trustee and I'm certainly in agreement with it. I think it's a fantastic thing to do. Yeah, all those in favour? Okay, thank you, that's carried. Is there anything else on here that shouts to you that we need to do something at all? Any changes, any suggested changes, any amendments? No? Okay, thank you. Then we'll keep this going then for the next civic year. Thank you, but we will actually. Yes, Councillor Hillier.
Sorry, Mayor, I just wondered if we fill the Family Centre Advisory Board this day.
Well, we were just. Town Clerk, would you like to speak to this?
I'm not entirely sure what there is. To tell you the truth, I'm not too familiar with the Family Centre Advisory Board, other than there is a vacancy.
Is anybody familiar with the Family Centre Advisory Board?
Is it the one that's D2? Because we got involved with that. We provide money through Nomad.
Well, Nomad is
sounds
going
like
down.
it.
Do you think
Yeah, but
it's
it's a sort of separate organisation, the Family Centre itself. So I imagine it's probably that, but I can't think of what else it might be.
Yes, and in fact, what's happened is that particular organisation was separate from Nomad, and Nomad have taken over the whole operation. So therefore, the representatives from Nomad will cover.
Okay.
Will cover both ones.
I propose then we take the Family Centre Advisory Board out. Is that seconded? All those in favour? Okay. Let's propose that all the other memberships stay as is. Can I have a seconder, Councillor Owens? All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, let's move on then to number 10, which is policies. This is to undertake the annual review of the following policies, and this evening we are reviewing the code of conduct. Please turn to page 51 in your agendas. Councillor Clark, would you like to speak to this first?
Certainly, if I may, just very briefly. So the current code of conduct that the council has adopted dates from 2012, when new code of conducts were brought in nationwide following the Local Government Act. And the Local Government Association, probably about 18 months ago, or maybe a bit longer, suggested a new model code of conduct. This was then discussed by the various principal authorities around the country, including in Oxfordshire, and the code of conduct in front of the proposed code of conduct is based on the model suggested by the Local Government Association, and the monitoring officers around the county have requested that town and parishes adopt the same code of conduct as the principal authorities, mainly for ease of administration, so that if a complaint against a councillor does arise, then everybody's been working towards the same code of conduct, and so it makes it easy to investigate those complaints, and also make sure that other councils are adopting best practice. The code of conduct is much longer than the current one, which I think is 3 pages. This is about 13. It is more comprehensive. In a way, I feel that it is slightly returned to a previous regime. And the current code of conduct only really talks about disclosable pecuniary interests. This one goes a bit further to talk about non-disclosable interests, and in a way reflects better what the council already does. For example, a member will usually say if they have what's called a personal interest. Well, technically now there is no such thing as a personal interest, but councillors continue to do so simply to be transparent about the fact that they might have an interest in an item, even though it might not be technically a disclosable pecuniary interest. So we do see the return of that in code of conduct. Other than that, there's not much to say about it, otherwise other than saying my recommendation is that we approve it as is, but with just one amendment. Well, 3. There are 3 paragraphs which talk about cabinet members, and obviously town parishes don't have executive arrangements, so they won't apply. So I've suggested those three paragraphs. There is one in 7.1, 7.2, 7.3. Those are simply omitted, and we adopt the code of conduct as is.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any comments at all? Yes, Councillor.
I'd just like to propose, as the town clerk has recommended, which is that we adopt it as it is with those 3 changes where cabinet members are referred to unnecessarily confusingly. I think it's worth noting that the code of conduct is very important, that we all follow it as a part of a legal obligation, but also to make sure that we represent the town fairly and openly and treat people with respect. And we've already heard one example tonight of where that hasn't happened, and we should make sure that we all follow it at all times.
And then it very much applies to social media as well, because it says the written word. Okay, do we have a seconder, please? Yes, Councillor.
Sorry.
Councillor Miller, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay. Let's move on to the last item on the agenda then, which is item 11, which is NB Finances 21-22. And it's very, very important that we take each item separately. Okay, let's ask the town clerk to speak to this item, please, first.
Thank you very much. So there are 4 separate parts to this item. The first one is the report of the internal auditor. It does say on your agenda that this will follow. Unfortunately, it hasn't been prepared in time. It has been prepared, but it just needs to be finalised by the internal auditor, so he hasn't sent it over to us in time for this meeting. However, on the annual governance and accountability return, what was called the annual return, which comes up, there is a summary report of the internal auditor, which he has completed and signed, to basically say that there are no major concerns, and that he's happy with it. So that's within the what's called the AR, which is to be signed under little items 3 and 4. And the internal audit report will be presented to the full council at the next meeting.
Okay, any questions, councillors, before we move these to the vote? For these to the vote? No? Okay, yes, councillor Ross.
Yeah, I'm going to propose as the town clerk secretary to be adopted individually, but I would like to draw people's attention to the what's on page 68 of the agenda, which is an excellent summary of the activities of the council over the past year, but also the looking ahead to 22-23. And it's an excellent summary of what we do. And anyone who's, I think that everyone should be aware of that, but of course, lots of things happen in various parts of the town council that we don't always, not all councillors are aware of. So I'd recommend everyone reads that. And anyone who's watching online would benefit from appreciating, I think, quite how much this council gets done for its just over £100 a year that each household pays as an average bandee. It's a very impressive list, I think, and I'd like to thank the officers for drawing it up so helpfully. Yes, I'd like to propose, we're doing these one at a time, aren't we?
Yes,
so can I
please.
propose that we adopt the, so we don't have little one, but as in little 2, that we approve the unaudited financial statements to the end of March 22.
Yes, I second. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried.
I will make a similar proposal for the annual governance and accountability return, the annual governance statements, so on.
Thank you. I'll second. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried.
And lastly, the annual governance and accountability return accounting statements that we approve those.
I'll second. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, that concludes the business of the full council.